Google just released Gemini 2.5 Pro, and it is currently the smartest AI in the world. But here's the thing, if you don't actually know what this model can do or how to use it, it won't make much of a difference. It'll probably just feel like the last version, and you'll miss out on a ton of tools that could literally save you hours every week. So in today's video, I'm going to show you exactly what Gemini 2.5 is capable of and how you can start using it to level up your workflow. We'll cover the newest features that are already inside of Gemini and a few of the upcoming ones that you can get your hands on in Google AI Studio. And it all starts with how much smarter Gemini has actually become, especially when it comes to advanced reasoning and problem solving. But it isn't exactly easy to use. In fact, if you're not prompting it correctly, you might think it's irritatingly stupid. That's exactly what happened to me at first. So here's what you can do to improve that. First of all, be more specific. Gemini doesn't really do well with vague or incomplete prompts. It's not like ChatGPT where you can send it almost anything and it will just guess what you mean. Gemini just isn't built like that. So instead of saying something like, fix this email, you should add more details like give it a tone and style, tell it what things it needs to mention in the email, tell it how long the reply should be and how to structure it. And yes, this might feel like a waste of time, but this is just how Gemini is built. So if you want the best results, you've got to work more on your prompts. It is also a great idea to give Gemini some examples. So coming back to our prompt, you could add your previous emails so it could understand your writing style and understand what you're kind of going for. Now, if your task is more complex, you should separate what Gemini has to do into steps. So instead of saying something like reply to the client, you should provide it with step-by-step instructions like here's an email from my client. First, read through it and extract a list of important points. Second, draft a simple structure. And lastly, create a final draft in a friendly but professional tone. It would be even better to separate these tasks into different messages to get the best results. Lastly, it's a great idea to give Gemini a role to get a better response. So the prompt, respond to this customer, won't give it much of a context, so go ahead and give it a role. You're a customer support expert, write a polite and empathetic reply, and blah, 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 and provide it with some examples. So now that you know the basics, let's go ahead and see how it works in practice. Now, there are two ways to use Gemini 2.5 right now. It's already available on Gemini for advanced and workspace users, but if you're not on a paid plan, don't worry because you can get it free of charge on Google AI Studio. Now, let's say I want Gemini to review this contract. I'd like it to correct errors, fact check it, and finally rewrite it properly. Now, here's a very bad prompt example that probably would have worked with ChatGPT. Fix my contract. So as you can see here, the answer is very bad and not what I wanted. It just fixed some errors, but it did nothing else. Now, let's go ahead and fix that prompt. Firstly, it would be a good idea to add a role here. So I'm just going to say you're a legal advisor. Now, let's break down what it has to do into steps. So step one right here, I'd like it to review the contract for any mistakes. Next, to fact check it and remove outdated information. And finally, to rewrite the entire contract using the corrections from step one and step two. Now, it would also be a great idea to be more specific with the format you'd like. So first I asked it for a mistakes list, then for a fact check list, and finally with the revised version of the contract. And here is a much better answer that even if you tried, you couldn't get out of ChatGPT because of a thing we're going to talk about next. But first, let's go ahead and look at this reply. So first it gave us a detailed mistakes list, then it went on to fact check and gave us legal corrections. It even put annotations right here of where it found this information. And finally, we got our revised contract with corrections from step one and step two. And it also included some annotations right here where I made the mistakes. So yes, you need to put a little bit more effort into your prompts, but the output you will get is like no other AI out there. It's absolutely amazing. Now, I'd like you to practice prompt writing by yourself. So I'm going to put an incorrect prompt on the screen right now. And I'd like you to improve it and work on it and leave your answer down in the comments. Next, let's talk about two Gemini superpowers that will save you hours every single day. Watch this. I'm going to copy the link to this 45-minute Shopify tutorial, paste it right inside of Gemini, and I'm going to ask it to give me a summary. First, it's going to transcribe the entire video minute by minute, and then it's going to give me a clear structured summary all in one go. And before I show you how to use this feature, there are two things you need to learn about Gemini first. Well, number one, it's multimodal. This means that Gemini doesn't just understand text, it can also process audio, video, and visuals natively. So you can literally upload any file or even a YouTube video link like we just did, and it'll analyze it for you. Secondly, it has a massive context window of up to 1 million tokens. Now, what the hell does that actually mean? Well, a context window is how much information your AI can handle at once without losing track of earlier details. The bigger it is, the more it can remember in a single go. And 1 million tokens is about 750,000 words, so you can literally upload the whole Lord of the Rings trilogy and The Hobbit to Gemini at once, and it won't lose track of a single detail. This is why Gemini can handle entire YouTube videos or full research papers without you having to split them into parts. And soon they'll be updating the context window to 2 million tokens, so that's going to be incredible. So yeah, Gemini can process a ton of info at once, but how much can it actually respond with? Well, not quite so much, but it's still pretty impressive. It can generate up to 65,000 tokens, which is about 50,000 words in a single reply. So that's why I told you that the contract correction was pretty impressive, because ChatGPT could have just given you the third part of that answer. Now, when you can combine Gemini's multimodality with its huge context window, this is when things start getting really interesting. So let's go ahead and see how both of these work in practice. Unfortunately, the majority of the multimodal features are not available on Gemini just yet, so I'm just going to tour them for you inside of Google AI Studio. So once you're in, you're going to select Gemini 2.5 Pro model from the drop-down menu. Then just go ahead and hit the plus button right here, and you'll see all different input types that you can use. That includes everything from Google Drive files, local uploads, including audio and video, and YouTube video links. You can also record directly here by using your camera and screen. All you have to do is press on this camera button right here, and you'll also see the screencast option. You can also use this mic to record audio. For now, unfortunately, you can't stream with this model in real time, but I'm sure they'll roll it out soon as well. First, I've got the 33-minute AI news episode from Matt Wolf, but I don't have time to watch it, so I'm just going to copy the link, paste it into Gemini, and ask it to give me a quick summary of all the news. Now, you'll notice something interesting here. The video shows up as 500,000 tokens, and you might think, wait, how can a video contain that many words? But first, Gemini needs to transcribe the video, scan for the visuals and graphics, and that also requires tokens. So if your video is like over an hour long, it's usually better to just copy and paste the transcript. And just like that, it took literally 2 minutes to go through an entire video and give me a list of all of the news. And I've actually watched this episode, and it hasn't missed a single thing. Next, let's see how you can take advantage of these tools inside of Gemini. Now, I've gathered several studies here on losing fat and gaining muscle at the same time. We're looking at about 65 pages with visuals and graphs. Now, I'd like Gemini to analyze all of them and then write an academic paper based on the findings. So first, I'm just going to ask it to analyze the studies and list the key findings. Next, I'd like it to write an academic paper based on these findings. And since we're talking about writing, this brings me on to our next feature, Canvas. Canvas lets you create fully editable documents right inside of Gemini. Think of it kind of as a Google Doc, but built inside of your AI. So what I'm going to do is click on the Canvas button right here, enter in my prompt and hit send. And as you can see, it starts writing the paper on the right side right here on our canvas. Once our research paper is ready, I can go in and edit out any details or ask Gemini to make changes, but overall it's looking very, very good. It did a very good job of combining all of our findings into this paper, and overall it's just looking very professional. Though I must say, do not expect Gemini 2.5 to be good at writing. It is still horrible and, must I say, unusable. but it is very good at other things, like writing code. And since we've already started talking about Canvas, this leads me on to our next feature, which is coding and designing in Canvas, which you should know about even if you don't design and code. In fact, if you don't design and code, you must know how to use it. This feature can save you a ton of time on design tasks, such as creating newsletters, data visuals, social media posts, email signatures. It can literally design anything for you. And today I'm going to show you how you can make these designs editable in just a couple of steps. Here I asked Gemini to design a newsletter layout for me, and here's what I got. It's not looking bad at all. Then I went on and exported it to Figma in one simple step. I added in my image, icons, changed a few colors, and here's the final version we got. I mean, not to toot my own horn here, but it's looking amazing, and that's probably the best thing I've ever designed. So let me show you how you can do the same in just a couple of steps. First, you're just going to click the Canvas button right here and write what you want Gemini to design. Remember to include as many details as possible for the best results. I'm just going to ask Gemini to create a front page for my website that includes my most popular YouTube videos, an AI tools rating system, and a couple more things. You can also include an inspirational image to let Gemini know what design you're kind of going for. Now, first, Gemini is going to go in and write out the code. And once it's done, you can go ahead and click preview right here to see what the design looks like. And if you want any major changes, you can go ahead and ask Gemini to make them and then just keep reviewing it until it looks right. But it doesn't have to be perfect because we are actually going to make this design editable with our next step. Now, to edit this design, you're just going to head over to Figma and click on this icon right here to install the HTML to Design plugin. And now all that's left for us to do is just go back to Gemini and copy the HTML code it gave us, paste it into here, and here is our design ready to edit. You can now move things around, add images, icons, change colors without knowing how to code. This feature is amazing if you want a custom editable template for your design, or even if you're just browsing for some ideas and layouts. If you use Gemini, you should definitely check out this video I made on its latest features, or this one where I show you how to use it with Workspace like a pro. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe. It really helps this channel grow. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.